feet and legs. Doors on your right hand side are sliding shut. Asante Sana, which means
look
thank
so
you to our
familiar.
warrior folks, means we get twin day, which does in fact mean let's go. Now, Jumbo again, folks. My name is Dakota, and I am a heck of a safari driver, if I do say so myself. Enough about me, though. Let's talk about you and all the ways you can make this a fun and safe safari for all our animal and human friends out there. Make sure you keep those hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the truck at all times, and remain seated at absolutely all times. I am, as a matter of fact, driving this truck. It will get pretty bumpy. An animatronic would not be half this charming. But anyway, let's go see some animals. We are headed into the Little Aturi Forest here, folks. The Little Aturi Forest is filled with animals that absolutely love to use their camouflage to hide from predators. So we will see what we can see out there. Right over there, sure enough, on our right-hand side up on that hill, you are going to see some okapis up there. And those okapis are some of my personal favorite animals, related to the zebra because of those stripes on their legs, but they're actually the closest known relative of the giraffe. Go figure. Now, one of the reasons we know it's related to the giraffe is because of its long prehensile tongue. Now, if you don't know what prehensile means, don't worry, I didn't either. I had to look it up. Prehensile means that so an okapi, just like a giraffe, will use that tongue to grab onto trees and branches and anything else that may have food for them. Now that okapi is also very skilled at using its camouflage to blend in. It was not even discovered by modern science until the year 1901. That's the same year as Walt Disney's birth. Pretty big watering hole coming up here on our left-hand side. And speaking of prehensile, coming up right here on our left, looks like we're about to get a pretty good view of a black rhino right up here on this ridge, folks. Now this black rhino has a prehensile upper lip, which means they will grab and hold on to things using just their upper lip like a finger. The black rhinos will weigh up to 3,000 pounds and charge speeds of up to 35 miles an hour, which is bigger and faster than me, so I stay in the truck. Still though, as gorgeous as that rhino is, unfortunately they are still being heavily poached for those horns, which is really silly because those horns are made of keratin. And that's the exact same material that makes up your own hair and fingernails. Who's that? Don't worry, there are lots of active conservation attempts that are being made for those black rhinos, including right here. But right here, folks, right on our left-hand side, gonna see these gray antelopes, and these are greater kudu. These greater kudu are heavily farmed in Africa, not as a source of food though, as a source of status. But these greater kudu are the second largest antelope in Africa. You can tell they're female because they don't have any horns, but those greater kudu will jump 8 feet straight up in the air. Those orange and white striped antelope, on the other hand, are called bongos, and those bongos are so rare and elusive in the wild, they're so skilled at using their camouflage to blend in that they are known as the ghosts of the forest.
What about the lesser kudu?
The lesser kudu? Yeah, he didn't make the cut, apparently. Now, right here, folks, we are headed into the Safi River region. Now, the Safi River region, folks, is a completely different ecosystem out there with lots of different animal and plant life, so make sure you keep those eyes peeled. Right here on our right, pelicans out here on the Safi. These pink-backed pelicans are known for that pink-colored pigment of skin on their back that gets brighter during mating season. They have a wingspan that can reach 8 to 9 feet long. Just for reference, that's the width of the canopy of this entire truck. It's a very, very big hug, yeah.
That's a thunderbird.
Now, you might have seen a hippo already, but if you folks see any more, like a giant floating baked potato, those are also probably Nile hippos. These hippos do like to spend most of their time completely submerged in the water. They will stay submerged for up to 8 minutes at a time before taking a breath. And when they do take a breath, they will raise their heads up out of the water to do so, and lower it back down, all without even waking up. They very much value their sleep.
Oh, there's one
right there on our left. You're gonna see one of those hippos.
This truck is leaning a little too far.
Now, when you see hippos moving through the water just like that, they are rarely swimming. Again, most of the time they're just walking along the bottom, since they are just so heavy and dense. So you see that one walking along the bottom right there. Now, a group of hippos, if you ever see a big bunch of hippos all together, all at once, in a group, it's called, and I swear I'm not making this up, it's called a bloat. A bloat of hippos. Pretty fantastic group name, I have to say. Right here on our left-hand side. Oh boy, oh jeez. Crikey. Well, these are Nile crocodiles, folks. These Nile crocodiles, they are some of the more fierce and intimidating animals on the entire reserve. On average, they're about 6 feet long. They weigh up to 500 pounds. Oh boy. Do me a favor, folks, and hang on back there tightly. I do not like the way this bridge feels. If I'm honest with you, it kind of sounds like it was built at Universal. I'm gonna go ahead and get over the bridge. Really not trying to lose another truck today. Now, those crocodiles have a bite force of up to 2,000 pounds in those jaws. What's even more impressive, though, is that mommy and daddy crocodiles will roll their eggs around in their jaws as a form of helping their babies hatch, and they do this without even cracking the eggs. Now, crocodiles are ectothermic, which is another word I had to look up. It means cold-blooded. So if you see them laying out in the sun with their mouths open, that's their own form of body temperature regulation, since they don't. Important landmarks make our way into the savannah. It happens to look exactly like my last attempt at gardening. It's a very unfortunate truth, you can take my word for it, but you are right, that is a baobab tree. And a baobab tree is supposed to look like that. It goes leafless for 9 months out of the year, and its stems look like roots, earning it the nickname the upside down tree. But it's also called the tree of life, and that's because that trunk will hold thousands, and I do mean thousands of gallons of water in its trunk at a time. Elephants have been known to puncture that trunk with their tusks to get at that water during droughts. But welcome, folks, out to the African savannah. Looks like we're going to see a lot of life out here today. Starting off with this brown cow with the huge horns. That is an Ankoli cattle. Now the horns on this are up to 6 feet long from tip to tip. They might look like they weigh a ton, but those horns are actually quite light. That's because they're hollow with a honeycomb structure within that allows their blood flow to increase or decrease to control their body temperature. So they get like their own form of AC. Keeps them cooler on hot days and warmer on cold ones. Now these gray antelope-looking dudes are wildebeest. Wildebeest are also known as gnu, spelled G-N-U here in Africa. Learn something new every day. And right here on our left-hand side, we're gonna see, looks like we got some African painted dogs, a small pack of them calling this den home. Now these African painted dogs, they are very social animals. They're often confused for hyenas. They mate for life, and their packs are led by an alpha male and female. So think of it like the power couple of the savannah. But these African painted dogs, they are also very skilled hunters. They have a hunting success rate of 80 to 90%, which is higher than lions and hyenas combined. So they are just adorable little murder machines. They're right there to our left, though, folks. Right over there in the shade. You can just barely see some of those brown antelope with the curved horns. Those are sable antelope, right there. Those sable antelope are the emblem of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. That's because unlike most prey animals, they'll pretty much always choose to fight instead of flight when encountered by predators. That's what those long curved horns are for. Now these wildebeest are the second largest migrating species on the planet, second only to us, humans. But they have migrated in massive herds that were so large that they kicked up dust clouds that were visible from space. They do that once a year at an event called the Great Migration. Now these structures shooting up into the sky and sticking up all over the savannah are termite mounds, big ones. They're made of dung, saliva, and mud, which is just delicious. They bake in the sun, get as hard as concrete, which is why elephants use them as a scratching post, and some smaller antelope like to use them as a lookout post. But right here, we're gonna get our first view at a Maasai giraffe today, folks. Now, the way I can tell it's a Maasai giraffe, at least the way I like to remember it, is because their pattern is a little bit messier than other species of giraffe, but they are named Maasai for the tribe in Africa that first discovered them. They're the tallest animal on the planet, yet as long as that neck is, they've only got 7 vertebrae in it. That's the exact same amount of bones as humans have in their neck.
There's one all the way in the back over there.
What is a giraffe?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is, yeah.
That's the other one, right?
No, we have 7. We have, I believe, 13 giraffes out here on the savannah at any point today. Probably over there.
Over there, you see his neck popping out.
Way over Another good view of these Ankole cattle right here, though, folks. Now, these Ankole cattle are heavily farmed in Africa, not as a source of food, as a source of status. The more Ankole cattle you have, the more rich and famous you are. I don't have any. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and press on. Looks like we're going to see at least one more of those giraffes coming up here to our right. A group of giraffe is called a tower. If you ever see a big bunch of them, that would be a whole tower of giraffe. Now, for giraffe to get down to the ground and back up again, it's pretty difficult with their big bodies and long legs. They will do just about everything standing up. Eating, sleeping, even giving birth. So a baby giraffe starts off its life with a 6-foot drop straight to the ground. Talk about your tower of terror.
I was about to say.
And we have one right in the road here, folks. Just a little bit of a giraffic jam, don't worry. But you get a very good view of this Messiah giraffe right here. Now, I have to be honest with you, folks. I could not be any of these giraffe. I couldn't do it. There's no way. A giraffe only sleeps on average about 30 minutes a day. They break that sleep up into about 6 5-minute increments and do so with their eyes wide open and standing up. So it definitely could not be your driver. That would not be a pretty picture for me. At all.
There's 2 more over there.
Now these knocked down trees that we're about to pass through here are usually a pretty good indicator that we are entering elephant country. Elephants like to knock down these trees quite a bit, so let's see what we can see. It looks like just up ahead, we are about to get our first look at our first African elephant of the day. Right there to your right. They are different than other species of elephants, like Indian, for example, and they kind of resemble the continent of Africa in shape. Let's go ahead and press forward, because I bet I can get us a much better... I was wondering why this road was closed. All right, here on our right, that African elephant. Now you can see him flapping those big African continent-shaped ears at us, just like that. There is a reason for that. He's not just saying hi, although it is quite polite. And no, he's not trying to fly either. Elephants have blood vessels that you can see, actually, running all along those ears. So by flapping his ears at us, just like that, he can cool his body temperature down up to 15 degrees at a time. Exactly right. Now, you did hear me mention about elephants knocking down trees. It's something they do all the time. You can go to the top for that food source, and I have to say it is pretty easy for them. Elephants have more muscles in just their trunk than in the entire human body combined. Still, though, it's big and strong and impressive, as elephants are. Something we've learned about them pretty recently, as a matter of fact, is that they're afraid of bees. Might have to do with... What's that?
Same.
Yeah, same. Might have to do with the buzzing sounds that they make, might have to do with that sensitive skin of the elephants, but regardless, the Disney Conservation Team was able to use that info to help farmers in Kenya, who are having a problem with elephants trampling all over their crops, by creating beehive fences. Those fences kept those elephants out of harm's way, kept those crops from being trampled, and gave those farmers a bonus crop of honey. Very big win for conservation, really cool story. So as I pass under this bridge, you're going to notice some tusk marks here on the left and right hand side of the truck in this red clay. That's pretty common. Elephants often like to scrape off that clay with their tusks and eat it as a food source. It's very rich in essential vitamins and minerals for them. So think less Play-Doh and more, well, your essential elephant multivitamin. I'm gonna have to see if we can see any more elephants up ahead. Now, elephants are a matriarchal species, which means that their herds are led by the oldest and wisest female. Once male elephants reach adulthood, they're kicked out of the herd. Sometimes they go solitary, other times they form smaller bachelor herds of male elephants. So that lone elephant we saw back there in the other yard, most definitely a male. So we're gonna get a very good view of this giraffe right here to our left. Actually, he might give us a good demonstration of that prehensile tongue we were just talking about. Yeah, there it is. He's gonna grab onto that palm frond. Now, if we see any more elephants, though, folks, I want you to pay attention to their backs and on their skin. Looks like we are going to see at least one more. Well, you'll notice that this elephant we're about to see, they're pretty dirty. she's got a lot of dirt, sand, mud, and hay all over her back and on her skin, well, that's fully intentional. You see, elephants have extremely sensitive skin. So in order to protect their skin from the sun, they will gather up dirt, mud, sand, hay, anything else we could find with their trunks and throw it onto their own backs. So they did all that themselves. That's their own form of sunscreen. Now we have talked about a bunch of different animal group names so far in our safari, like a tower of giraffe and a bloat of hippos and a dazzle of zebras. Right here on our left-hand side, how about an entire flamboyance of greater flamingos? A flamboyance. Don't look at me. I have no idea who came up with that. Now these greater flamingos do hatch completely gray. If you see any gray markings along their beak or in their feathers, it's just because they're young. It takes them a few years to get that pink color, and they get it from all the beta carotene they consume in their diets of shrimp and other crustaceans. For my Disney fans on board the truck, take a look at that island they're standing on. Should have a pretty familiar shape.
I love that. The ibis just wanted to fit in.
Coming up here on our left, we've got a pretty big mud pit. Looks like this mud pit has done a very good job of attracting some of the larger inhabitants on the reserve, and these white rhinos. And these rhinos are much bigger and heavier than our black rhino friends from the Little Aturi Forest. They will weigh 4,000 to 5,000 pounds each. Now the term white is actually a mistranslation of the Afrikaans term wide, which means wide. It refers to the wide nature of their mouth. There's really next to no difference in color between black and white rhinos, so I just refer to all of them by their scientific name, the chubby unicorn. Right on our right, though, right through that clearing, you see some ostriches right over there. Those ostriches are the largest, up to 40 miles an hour, but they use approximately none of to cross the road, and you can trust me on that. And these rhinos do often love to roll around in mud pits such as this one as a method of cooling themselves off and protecting their skin, just like elephants, and just for fun. Because, I mean, they're rhinos, why not? Must admit, they are my favorite animals on the entire reserve. Right here on our left, right up on this hill, gonna see some cheetahs up there by those trees. These cheetahs are the fastest land animals on the planet. They'll run at speeds of up to 70 miles an hour. That's 7-0. Only takes them 3 seconds to get up to that speed. They are sprinters though. They can't hold that speed for very long, really only a couple hundred yards, which is probably good because this truck only goes about 20. Now, cheetahs, they are daytime hunters. So that black patch of fur that they have around their eyes, that is their own form of sunglasses. Helps them reflect sunlight and glare during the day. Cheetahs, also their claws do not retract, unlike other species of cats. They are always out. So think of it like an athlete wearing cleats. Helps them get up to speed, stop, and turn on a dime. But if those cheetahs reminded you of regular house cats, they should. They really should. Cheetahs are some of the biggest cats in the world that can purr and meow. Right here on our left, though, speaking of big cats, looks like we've got some lions right up here on this Kopi rock. Very good view of them, too. Now, they are doing what lions do for most of the day, which is lying around. They sleep on average 16 hours a day, which is much more my speed than giraffe. And we have a roadblock up ahead, folks, so be patient with me. But lions are nocturnal hunters, unlike cheetahs, meaning they only hunt at night. Their vision in the daytime is similar to ours, but in the dark, lions can see 6 times better than humans. Most of the hunting in the pride of lions is done by the female, while the male stays back and guards the cubs. Well, hi.
And now?
Rhino in the road. Stand by, folks.
You wanna play chicken?
Yeah, I'm not playing chicken with a rhino. That just doesn't sound like a good idea. Although it does look like we are about to win. Maybe. I'm gonna move out of the road just a little bit more. folks, I hate to burst your bubble about these lions, but these lions do not purn me out. They roar. When they roar at full strength, it can be heard from up to 5 miles away. It is very loud and very impressive. Here on our left-hand side, though, folks, right there, right at the curb, when I make this turn, looks like you can see some warthogs calling these burrows home. Now, warthogs are the largest burrowing animals in Africa. I would not recommend calling them Pumbaa to their face. Pumbaa in Swahili means foolish one, which is kind of ironic since they're some of the smartest animals on the reserve. They're also some of the fastest. Even with those short, stubby little pig legs, warthogs run at 35 miles an hour. That's the exact same speed rhinos charge at and giraffe can gallop. Now, these furry antelope are called waterbuck. Waterbuck are pretty interesting creatures. They almost secrete an oily substance into their fur that makes them totally waterproof. Those white markings in their fur actually reflect moonlight at night. It makes for a very good way for young waterbuck to find their mothers in the dark. Now, those warthogs are very fast, especially for their size, but they're not quite as fast as these ostriches, again running at 40, although they cross the road at about -2. Speaking of ostriches, though, right there on our right, take a look on the ground. You can see some ostrich eggs right there in the grass. Those ostrich eggs will weigh 3 to 4 pounds per egg. They are so sturdy that an adult human male could stand on them, and they wouldn't even crack. Not that I recommend giving this a try, though. Ostriches run at 40 miles an hour, and you do not. So probably not the best idea to stand on their eggs. Right here, though, folks, we are entering Magadi Glen. Magadi Glen is home to a pretty neat conservation story. Our local warden is raising a small herd of Nigerian dwarf goats. Oh. And these dwarf goats do look small, but most of them are fully grown. That's as big as they get. They help us out with conservation by secreting a sweet flavor of milk. So by farming these smaller animals for their dairy products instead of larger ones, we can cut back on the amount of habitat and land used for those products. They're also just really cute to keep around. Not really an animal fact. Actually, you know what? Heck with it. It's an animal fact. Look at them. They're adorable. I have that authority. Maybe. I can make that an animal fact. They're objectively cute. Now, as we make our way into this next area, through this gate, it does move. There's a goat out of the pen. It's your driver. You get it? Greatest of all. Yeah, I got the joke. Never mind. Got him. But anyway, folks, as I do make my way through that gate and onto this road, it does mean that we are making our way back towards the village, which means that your time with yours truly is drawing to an end, which I have to say, that was a pretty quick safari. 2-week safari. It took me like 20 minutes. Dang. But still, though, folks, even though this journey of ours is ending, our journey towards the conservation of these animals and their habitats still continues. A couple ways you can help with that journey is by donating to the Disney Conservation Fund. Any donation you make here in Disney's Animal Kingdom will be matched dollar for dollar for these animals and their habitat. Another really good way to help, well, that's by recycling. Recycling everything from those plastic bags and bottles to even your old electronics can help. It's because your electronics contain a mineral called coltan in the batteries. It's currently being heavily mined in Africa, threatening the habitats of our elephant friends. By recycling your old smartphones, laptops, tablets, computers, anything with a battery, you can cut back on the amount of coltan mining in the world, thus helping elephants. Now we will be getting you folks on your way here just shortly. Alright folks, now as we reach the outskirts of the village here, we do not like to say goodbye here in Africa. It's just far too sad and way too final. So instead, I'm going to teach you a Swahili term called kwaherini. And if you folks don't know what Quaharini means, no worries. It just means hurry up and get out of my truck. I'm kidding, it means go well. So make sure you folks do go well out there today. Thank you for your patience. We will be getting you out here just as soon as we can, getting you on your way to wherever your next adventure may take you. Now folks, if you have any other animal viewing needs, I highly recommend checking out Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail as well as the Maharaja Jungle Trek. Gorilla Falls is right here in Africa. They're going to have silverback gorillas, naked mole rats, meerkats, exotic birds, exotic fish. The Maharaja Jungle Trek is over in Asia. They're going to have tigers, Komodo dragons, bats, water buffaloes, and all kinds of other Asian wildlife for you to see over there to fulfill those animal. But here folks, it does look like our time together is coming to an end. If you enjoyed my safari, my name was Dakota, all the way from Palatka, Florida. And if I have any wilderness explorers aboard this truck, you folks were on board the one and the only Simba 1. The Simba 1. Now do me a favor, folks. Once I get boarded here, we are going to be told to stop by that lovely warden. Now do me a favor, watch those hands, arms, feet, and legs. Doors